Well, a fourth American citizen has now been detained in Venezuela in connection with that alleged plot to kill President Nicolas Maduro. It comes on the heels of the disputed Venezuelan presidential election. The State Department denying any claims that the U.S. is involved in a plot to overthrow Maduro and says it continues to support a democratic solution to the political crisis in the country. Matt Rivers joins me now from Mexico City. So, Matt, what do we know about this alleged plot? And is it really just an attempt by Maduro to distract, from the disputed election?
Yeah, so, Kira, we first heard about the plot when senior leadership in the Maduro government came out over the weekend and at first accused 3 different Americans, 2 Spanish nationals and a Czech national of engaging in this so-called plot. They showed rifles that they say the authorities seized as a result of this. And then it was just recently, in the last 24 hours, that the Venezuelan government has come out and said they've arrested a 4th American involved in all of this. They didn't identify that American, but they said one of the 4 Americans was an active duty U.S. military member. The U.S. government has acknowledged that this military member was in Venezuela and has been arrested. But as you said right off the top, the U.S. government completely denying any involvement in all of this, as has the Spanish government. To your other question about whether this is just a fabrication by the Maduro government, there's no way to know for sure, but I think it's important to keep the context in mind in all of this. The United States government, along with the Spanish government, have been real leading voices questioning the results that would claim to show Maduro winning that election, when there's a lot of evidence that would suggest it was the opposition candidate that actually won that election. The U.S. put in sanctions. The Spanish government has granted political exile, or asylum rather, to the opposition candidate in that election. So there's a lot of reasons for the Venezuelan government to be angry with the U.S. and Spanish governments. And also, one more point, the Maduro government routinely, over the course of its time in power, accuses people of plotting against it. In fact, nearly 24 suspected plots have been put out in public by the Maduro government in his more than 10 years in power. So this is a playbook that we've seen enacted by the Maduro government before.
So the Maduro government had previously used Americans in prison in Venezuela to gain concessions from the U.S. government, right? So do you think that we, may see a tactic like that again?
It could certainly happen, although I think what we're seeing right now is just outright hostility from the Venezuelan government that has been really backed into a corner as sort of a pariah state after these really suspicious, fraudulent elections in the end of July. You've got huge swaths of the international community who say that Maduro didn't actually win. And so when it comes to the motivations behind these arrests, sure, that could happen down the road. The Maduro government could try and get concessions out of the United States, but I think it's more of a reflection of the fact that the Maduro government very angry with the United States right now after its calling out of these election results.
All right, Matt Rivers, appreciate it. We'll follow you. Meanwhile, the opposition leader has fled to Spain.